The reason I love working in sales is because I'm not the most talented rep, I don't have the most experience, I'm not the best looking, and I'm not the funniest either, but I do have a great motor, and I put in my full effort each and every day. Based on my last 3.5 years working in software sales at a fast-growing technology company, hard work beats talent each and every day. Hard work means prospecting each and every day during the good times, the bad times, whether you feel like it or not. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about prospecting during the holidays. This is gonna be an important video for so many of us out there. If you agree that prospecting is a way of life, make sure to leave a like on this video now. Prospecting is the top sales activity that separates the average reps from the top performing reps from the superstar reps. Anyone can put up a good quarter, anyone can put up a good month, but those who constantly put up good months and good quarters are those who have a healthy pipeline. Happy pipeline, happy life. This time of the year is when they tell you, hey, you shouldn't be prospecting. It's the holidays. Do you think someone wants to receive a cold call while they're cutting up their turkey? Those are the same people who say, hey, it's the start of the year. People are still setting their goals. You should give it a couple weeks. Those are the same people who tell you, hey, COVID hit, not the right time to be making cold calls. Hey, everyone's working remotely. They've figured out our prospecting tactics. Cold calling's a waste of time and it's dead. You gotta be careful who you're listening to because I believe now through the end of the year is actually the best time of the year to prospect because there's so many reps out there that make excuses as to why they shouldn't be prospecting through November and December. And that's why they have such a tough time to start the years because the prospecting activities you put in today, you put in tomorrow, you put in next week is what will yield results 3 to 4 weeks down the line. That's why Q1, everyone's like, oh, it's such a tough quarter. I got to get started into the year. Let's review top prospecting strategies to fill up your pipeline. Prospecting means finding qualified prospects to fill up your pipeline that will hopefully result in closed revenue for the business. It's super important. There's a lot of different ways to prospect. You can cold call, you can send emails, you can social sell through LinkedIn, whatever it may be. I am curious. I'm seeing a lot of increased post and demand around video prospecting and texting. Let me know down in the comments below, have you actually set legitimate meetings via a video or a text message? Text messaging to me seems a little invasive. I'd potentially rather use a carrier pigeon than a text message, although the carrier rates still may apply to the text message. Also, if you're interested in sales content just like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm an account executive in software sales. I've made over 40,000 cold calls, generated over $12 million in pipeline. So I know what I'm talking about to an extent. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to share my own experiences. And now let's get into prospecting best practices. The way I think about prospecting is you can do account-based general prospecting. I classify that as whale hunting. Or you can do warm prospecting. As an SDR, warm prospecting is my approach. As an account executive, I need to do both. Let's start with warm prospecting because it's all about warming up the conversation. What do I mean by warmth? If your friend calls you right now and the name Alex shows up on your screen and he's your best friend, are you gonna answer it? Of course you're gonna answer it. You're gonna text back immediately because they're your friend. They have trust, recognizability. The prospects most likely don't know who you are, and if they don't know who your company are, they're not gonna give you the time of day. So you need to warm up the conversation, and there's multiple ways you can do that. Number one is by finding lost opportunities or deal dead, whatever you want to classify it as. Run a list in your CRM of all of the prospects that have spoken with your company in the last year. Each month, it's a good time to do this activity, but especially at the end of the year, it's a great time to review who has spoken with your company or a rep in the past. They're familiar with you. At some point in time, your product or service was of interest to them, and it didn't work out for one reason or another. Maybe heading into the new year, hey, as you review your processes, let's set up time to discuss relevant new updates to you. What's your availability, XYZ? Try to set the meeting now. And if you can't, get it set up for the beginning of the year. Lost opportunities is number one. Number two is cross sells. Personally, this is my favorite, and this is where I have the most success as an account executive. A cross sell is selling an existing customer a different product line of your business. So that's assuming your organization has multiple product lines, which I'd hope you do at this point. If you don't, and you're a one-trick pony, that should tell you a lot about the future of your company, unless it's a a product with a great moat, and it would take a lot to have one product. But ultimately, imagine you have product line A and you sell product line B. Run a list of all the customers that are in your book of business that currently spend with product line A. You're selling product line B, so target that company. Maybe it's the same group, maybe it's a different set of buyer personas within the organization, which is good as well. Reach out to them. Hey, your marketing team spends money with us today, you're a customer, you do an XYZ. I'd like to set up time to discuss how you could benefit from the above, why this matters to you, XYZ. Cross sells, immediately super warm. And what you could also do is maybe reach out to your colleague who manages that relationship and try and get a direct connection or intro in. That's always super warm as well. Number 3, warmth, is interesting moments. And this is something I've come to perfect over the last couple years. My company fortunately has a lot of resources. The more mature your organization, the more marketing resources you're gonna have. I make fun of marketing a lot, but they do a great job putting on webinars, sharing content, doing whatever, customer stories. And when an interesting moment is essentially when a prospect engages with your company's material, whether it be going on your website, downloading content, attending a webinar, requesting sales contact. Be cognizant of the list of those people intra-week. So as it's happening in real time, follow up with them. It doesn't get warmer than that. Figure out who are those people and follow up with them. And then also run a report for the last 6 months of all of those contacts. Add them to your sequence. That is what I'm going to do this week because those are the warmest prospects right there. Those are the top 3 ways you can generate warmth. Of course, you can do upsells. There's a lot of other strategies as well, but ultimately, that's what I do to generate warmth. The other hand on prospecting, and also, if you like videos like this, if you're enjoying this so far, leave a like on this video now. I'd really appreciate it. It helps gets the word out to other salespeople just like you, and that's a community we're trying to build. My goal is 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, by the way, so subscribe as well if you haven't already and share this with a friend. Number 2 is general prospecting or whale hunting. What I mean by that is you have a book of business, let's say 200 accounts. How do you decide where to focus, what to do? This is a question I go back and forth on a lot. And what I do is prioritize my book of business by industry, by revenue, by employee count. Those are the key differentiators to decide who's a good company, who's a bad company. Number 1 is industry. You need to understand how does your use case or your solution help that industry based on their unique pain points. I personally love to sell to financial services, manufacturing, and high tech. Figure out what industry you know how to sell into, because if your best companies with the most revenue are in oil or in food service, but you have a really tough time understanding that use case, then you shouldn't waste your time on it. So figure out who are your top companies in the top industries, get a list of those companies, and just go down the list one by one. The Great Resignation, more people have quit their jobs than ever. There potentially are new buyers in those positions of power that you haven't even begun to contact. So run a list of all of those companies. I have a list of 500 companies that I know are solid. I start at number 1. I go into number 1. I go into the company page on Salesforce. I say, is there any past activity? Have they spent with us? Are they a former customer? Are there any active conversations maybe with my team between them? And if no, that's perfect. That means it's a blank canvas. So the tools I use are LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Zoom Info. I go into Navigator, I find the top buyer personas, I cross-check them in Zoom Info to make sure they're legit and I have a direct line, and then I add them into my sequence. And then I start calling and emailing over time, and that draws awareness, that helps warm it up, and you do that for enough accounts, you start putting out enough activity and energy, and that will yield pipeline. People will get back to you, you'll start to set up meetings, and you do that with the big accounts, you do the warmth with just as much as you can volume, and that is how you consistently generate pipeline. The key to this is identifying what does a successful day look like. A lot of people just go into days and feel like, oh, that was a bad day, that was a good day, but what are you using to measure that? What I do for a prospecting standpoint, I'm not always the best, but I recognize that if I'm not consistent, I'm not going to consistently be successful. I now have a new rule that I'm 2 days in, but I do not sit down because I have a standing desk that can go up and down. I stand up until I prospect at least 5 new people, add them to my sequence, and that's what I'm going to start doing each and every day. And over time, that will add up. It may not seem like a lot. It doesn't take very long, but that's the slight edge, and that will separate you from everyone else at your company. I really hope you enjoyed this video here today. I hope you have a happy holidays. I'll be making videos throughout this week, throughout the month, throughout the rest of the year, because I'm committed to helping you guys. My dream with this channel is to elevate salespeople's belief in themselves. We're gonna reach 100,000 subscribers someday, so glad you guys are here early on in the journey. See you in the next video.